Synthetic biology is really using DNA as the basic building blocks to produce products and organisms that bring function.
UK is probably the country that has engaged most with synthetic biology. It has been identified very early on as a key industry-changing technology.
Synthetic biology and the responsible development of synthetic biology here at Manchester and about the UK was the third of the 3 dialogue workshops that we've done under Smart Maps. The format replicated the format that we'd used in the previous 2 workshops, and basically we go through different stages. The first is what are the needs, opportunities and challenges of embedding responsible innovation into the synthetic biology context. One need that has been coming out quite a few times is that because there are different stakeholders involved, industry but also regulators and researchers and civil society, there's a need to try and find a common language that everybody can work with.
The synthetic biology tools and technologies that are emerging from the research base are already being applied by industry in some areas. Industrial biotechnology is a really good example of that. However, I think there are far-reaching implications of the research that we're doing and applications in areas far beyond that, whether that be in chemical production, in healthcare, in a huge range of applications, some of which we probably can't even predict yet. And a responsible approach is clearly very important in looking at those different application areas.
So the kinds of solutions that we're finding come out that translate into tools. They were an accreditation mechanism and tool, a peer review process, and a way of generating a repository of a multitude of different contextualized cases as short vignettes.
Is the idea of an accreditation for responsible biotech. So there is a mechanism by which you can have a stamp to say we are a good organisation doing the right things and engaging appropriately.
So they were talking about how we could get different case studies for people using SynBio, and what MadLab kind of brings to the table, it was that civil voice, that the civil society voice, collecting the stories, collecting the case studies, and how we would go about doing that and what implications that might have, and how everyone would work together to get those case studies and to disseminate that and to share best practice and to share learning.
Synthetic biology is all about making genetic modification easier, make it more accessible, make it available for everybody. And that of course brings responsibility for those new actors that are starting synthetic biology, that starting genetic engineering, that perhaps don't have all the academic background, that are perhaps outside the standard regulatory frameworks. We have to bring the best practices of careful research to all the people who are now able to do engineering of genetic systems.
One of the things that I'm looking to do at MadLab is to set up a biolab that's open to the public. So in doing something like that, sort of opening up a lab, it's very important to be responsible and to understand everything we need to do in terms of RRI.
Everything has to be regulated, but because it's new, it's how do we do that? And do the current regulations actually still apply to synthetic biology? Research moves on very, very quickly. Regulations move along very, very slowly because they're legal processes ultimately. So to keep the two together is very, very difficult. And we wouldn't like to have to stop synthetic biology and all its benefits while the law catches up.